it's really important that after years of effort, we don't have a major release, hundreds of thousands of lines of code, major technology breakthrough that went from R&D and idea to rigorous software development. We don't want to release that and then nothing happens, right? So what we're doing is we're focusing now on very specifically what exactly do we need to support a successful launch. Now, this is everything from, you can call it the mundane of making sure that all of the products that we have out there today are compatible with the zendoo release. So just product compatibility is absolutely key. And this is a big area that we're focusing to make sure over the next couple of months, everything that we have is upgraded and compatible with the big zendoo release. Now, going further, because just releasing the software into the wild, we can book this as a major milestone and success for us as a team, as a community, as a project. It's huge. But we also want to make sure that when we deliver this, we are delivering something of usable substance so that we can actually open up the ecosystem immediately for other developers to come in. So it's not just, say, Horizen Labs or the foundation or just kind of like a small group of developers that we have currently who support the project outside of these formal teams. We want to open it up to the world, and we want to be able to answer the question immediately. If you want to do X, whatever X is in the blockchain world, it's a no-brainer to build on Horizen. That's what we want developers, CTOs, CEOs across industries, especially within our industry, to be able to answer that question and say, it's a no-brainer to build on Horizen. Now, as of today, it's not a no-brainer, right? Like we are not well known as one of those big platforms that people are going to build applications on. We will be, and there's a path to getting there, and we want to accelerate this path. So when we release zendoo, it's important that we also release the tools to make it useful from day one, and not completely. And even when we deliver, this is a huge breakthrough in terms of security and like full decentralization for particular, or really for any type of application, but it's not massively usable from day one in the sense that, say, Solidity with Ethereum's massively useful, right? There's a whole then roadmap of making it extremely usable that we have to engage on. And we may hit a point of maturity where it's extremely usable or sufficiently usable, let's call it, for particular use cases, but maybe not as usable for other use cases that maybe it's just not as well designed to do, right? So we have to, we will be tackling these challenges as we release Lattice, and then as we develop the roadmap for Lattice going forward. But in the meantime, so just long story short to say that in the meantime, practically what we're going to be doing is we are targeting delivery of what we're calling, say, a semi-decentralized option that deploys immediately with zendoo. So this is still not 100% given because it does require development work on the SDK core. It requires some deep thinking to make sure that we release something in a truncated window that is secure, right? We don't want to just release something in the wild because we can. We have to release something that's both meaningful, has high impact, and we have reasonable confidence that it's secure. So we are looking at a semi-decentralized option that would involve, call it a restricted certifier set. So instead of opening up the entire world in a fully decentralized way where anyone in the world can act as a certifier just based on specific protocol, we have the sidechain developers who launch the sidechain. Upon initializing and launching that sidechain, they actually choose a select group of certifiers that has some reasonable criteria of decentralization or trust, at least sufficient decentralization and trust that's appropriate for the application that they want to build on the sidechain. Right, so that's a lot of words, but just to say, we want to release zendoo with something immediately useful so that people actually build on us, right? Like we also have products like zk audit, and we have other things that we want to build. And in fact, if we want to get into more complex products that you can't necessarily program a zk-snark for, say like smart contracts, like a VM-based smart contracting platform, it's important to have this type of kind of like truncated certifier option so that people can still launch something with reasonable decentralization and security that meets the needs that they declare themselves, and just have that option out there in the wild. So this is really what now we're focusing some effort on, including just all of these compatibility issues that I mentioned before about zendoo's going live. We have a whole suite of things, including JavaScript libraries that work with the current zendoo software. We need to make sure that everything's completely compatible with zendoo. All right, so we have a lot of that work ahead. We also want to release this restricted certifier option as on day one with zendoo so that people can start building on day one without waiting for more rigorous tools to come out, like Lattice and the SDK for Lattice. So there's a lot of work going to this, guys, but just want to make it clear that we're thinking about all of these things.